Welcome everybody to another LimeVibe Live podcast for the night. I'm your host, the magnanimous one, Yuri Araman Kemp from Nassau, Bahamas, along with my co-host, the beautiful and erstwhile Miss Kimberly Ramcalawan from Trinidad and Tobago, who's been very, very busy dealing with all those Caribbean leaders and American leaders traipsing up and down through our country during this CARICOM 50th anniversary. Kimberly, how are you, my dear?
I am all right. Everything's right now. The CARICOM press conference is going on. It was started to start at 6:45 this afternoon. All media journalists have been waiting. They've been camped out waiting, and they only started probably like a half an hour or 45 minutes now, where chairman, the newly installed chairman, Prime Minister of Dominica, Roosevelt Scarrett, is currently addressing those on what would the deliberations that would have emerged from this 45th regular heads of government meeting of CARICOM?
Okay, that's good. That's good, man. So it's a hot day. Before we get started even more, I just want to remind everybody to please like, share, and subscribe to our videos on Facebook and YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe to LimeVibe 77 on Facebook and YouTube. It really helps us out a lot. It really helps us to share the message and spread the message about what's going on in the Caribbean. And it really helps us to get our message out there totally around the world, actually. And also, there is a donate link in the same description on Facebook and YouTube. It's a donate link, and whatever's in your heart to give us to help support the LimeVibe podcast, we will appreciate it. So anything that you're willing to give us, we will appreciate it greatly. So, Kimberly, yeah, so that's the business out of the way. So yeah, you having fun time over there in Trinidad now?
It's quite busy. Yesterday they had the flag raising ceremony. Forgive me, I have a bit of phlegm in my throat for the past few days. And yesterday morning they had the flag raising ceremony because July 4th actually was the official CARICOM day. It was reminiscent of 50 years ago when those leaders, they signed that Treaty of the Chagaramas.
Yes.
That was Eric Williams, Errol Barrow. You had Forbes Burnham and Manley from Jamaica. They were the signatories to the Treaty of Chagaramas. And yesterday it was rainy. I tell you, it was very rainy. All the heads of government leaders, they got soaked. But they also got their hands dirty because they had a tree planting ceremony. There were a lot of black umbrellas outside trying to shelter them. But I saw President Dr. Irfan Ali, his entire suit was drenched. And he, not a matter. Everyone was wet. It was beating in from in front where all the leaders were sitting. Apart from that, they also buried a time capsule.
Really?
Yeah, that is carded to be open in 2073, next 50 years. So this was this time's capsule signed all the leaders and what they were hoping by 2050 to have already achieved and see happen, and what was going on at the time.
That's good. That's something useful. So that's good. That's something we could all look forward to in 50 years. The next is 2023, the next 27 years from now?
I'm not sure if much of us will be alive then, but
it's 27 years, we're going to be here.
A new generation of leaders that we're hoping, if I'm alive that long, I need to be well and able. And I would hope the same for all leaders, that their memories serve them well.
Yes, I hope so as well, because they're not doing it for them, they're doing it for the next generation. So that's good.
Yeah,
a piece of Blinken's speech. Apparently, the Secretary of State of the United States is in Trinidad as well. Anthony Blinken. I listened to a piece of his speech, and he sounded pretty. He didn't pledge money like how Kamala pledged money, but he acknowledged that Vice President Kamala Harris, the U.S. Vice President pledged money, and he also pledged his support for the money she had put up towards climate change. So that's good. So we're getting broad consensus across the American government on what we have to do with climate change. But he also said something that's very interesting as well. He also said that the United States are going to start tracing and tracking these firearms that come across the United States into the Caribbean, so they can have a gun registry, so they can really track all these firearms that's being, flooding the Caribbean islands and causing all this violence. And really, escalating the violence. So yeah, that's good. That's two things I got from his speech when he spoke yesterday. No, he spoke today, didn't he? Yeah, Anthony Blinken spoke today. Yeah. So that's good. So hopefully we get some traction on tracking some of these firearms that enter into the Caribbean from the United States. So that would be good. So yeah, they made some progress, at least some commitment from the United States government, and it's good to see high level government officials there speaking very plainly and clearly towards these issues. So we had U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris there. Then we have U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken. So we're making some progress. We're making some keen progress on some of the key issues that we need to be dealt with.
I think they're headed to Ghana after stopping off in Trinidad.
Really?
I know that last year when our foreign affairs ministers would have met in Washington, D.C., he would have met and within a period of a week, actually, with Prime President Irfan Ali, as well as our Foreign Affairs Minister, Dr. Amory Brown. And I believe it speaks to the issue of energy. I know he would have spoken to the issue of energy when it came to Ghana, at least. In Trinidad, it would be crime and security and our borders. So it's interesting to see such a short time frame that we've had 2 high-level visits to the Caribbean in recent weeks. I mean, not too long ago, she was at your shores in the Bahamas. That's Kamala Harris. She's a president. And now we have Secretary of State Antony Blinken here in Trinidad, right? That's his name.
Yeah, and I'm so honored to have him here. But I'm so honored to have both of them there because there are big issues now happening in the world. You have the Russia-Ukraine war. You have the inflation issue still gripping the rest of the world. So, I mean, I just feel honored, and I thank them for actually spending the time and taking the time to come and visit us, to talk to us, and actually pledge their support to some of our heart-burning issues. Because there's a lot going on, Kim. There's a lot going on.
It is a lot. Obviously, climate change is high on the agenda as usual. I heard speak quite a good bit about, yes, we understand. He actually admitted that we are the second contributors to global warming in the world, and you all are suffering tremendously because of it. And the Caribbean's voice has been quite vocal when it comes to the effects. We have seen the change and the damages that has incurred from climate change happening, especially in the Caribbean.
Exactly. Because who wouldn't want a Caribbean vacation? Why would you want to destroy these beautiful islands?
Exactly.
They come to the Caribbean for vacation, sit on the beach with warm, friendly people.
He also spoke to the issue of Haiti, and he seemed to have mentioned that America is going to have a little more hands-on when it comes to security forces and lending support to the police service in Haiti, because they too understand that political stability is needed and something needs to happen to secure the country in order for its people to move ahead with elections.
Yes, that's important.
They're going to turn out at the polls if they don't feel safe, if they feel that they are threatened in some way, right?
Exactly. At least if you're going to rip the election off, at least let us be safe to go cast our vote, right? Give us the illusion that we're going to cast our vote, even though you may be put off. But so, yeah, I agree. And he only reiterated what the UN Secretary General Gutierrez said yesterday, didn't he, right? He said that the Haiti security is, let me see if I can find his quote, say generations of Haitians at risk, he said, and calling for international forces to actually come and deal with Haiti. So yeah, he is the UN Secretary General Gutierrez is actually taking a hard line. He's actually calling people to go in there right now.
He is. He had spoken to security, going before the United Nations Security Council for support.
Yes. And that's what's needed. And hopefully they can actually do something, you know. I hope Jamaica isn't put off by that attack on the embassy in Haiti. I hope they actually will spearhead this thing like how they plan to do, you know. But, you know, like I say, security has to come first, and nothing can happen before security. And so hopefully they can get the international support that what Gutierrez said he's going to help to lobby for. And some people come on board and actually decide they want to do something, you know. Because it wouldn't take a small force. I think about 1,000 Marines from any country or a multi-country Marine force to go in and really, you know, suppress the violent gangs in Haiti. You might even need 1,000, maybe you need 500 just to secure the relevant stations.
Well, you know, we hope to see what the world can do for Haiti. I know we can't do it on our own. We need something with strength, with tact. And America and their security systems, their forces have tact. I think if some kind of joint military forces security agency would be set up with Caribbean Caribbean Defense Forces as well as America. I think it would do us all well because it means that our defense forces would have been exposed to some kind
Yes,
of training in such a way.
exactly, exactly. It's only strengthening the Caribbean. Can only strengthen the Caribbean in the long run, you know.
So I would really hope to see something like that come out of it if they're pledging support
Yes.
to Haiti, and you will need support. You need to join forces with CARICOM and its defense forces from each Caribbean territory to assist.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I want to say this, Kim. I can't believe I was duped. I had such high hopes for this tripartite former prime minister grouping. I had such high hopes on because it's such a good initiative, but it seems that they've gotten off to a very slow and sluggish start. They're non-existent after that brief stakeholder meeting in Jamaica a few weeks ago, right? And like they've gotten off to a non-start. Like nothing's happened. Like shouldn't they be involved in this in some way, some form, somehow?
I guess when we're not hearing much about it, and you know, when it comes to something as sensitive as securing a nation, you have to be careful with pronouncing all your plans and initiatives that you're going to do.
Yeah, that's true.
I think your enemy has the air on the ground, that they're listening and they're tuned in as well.
Yes.
The that happened at the embassy speaks that they feel threatened by this tripartite union of leaders coming together and doing something. So I think it's still early. Haven't they set a date for elections? They're hopeful that elections should happen sometime. So I give them some time. I really do. It's not an easy task that they've taken on.
It's not, no. But Haiti is such a blank slate, though. Haiti is such a blank canvas. Like you go in and you do almost anything, and they'll have to accept it to some degree, you know.
We would hope so.
Maybe I see differently. Maybe I'm a dictator at heart, you know. Maybe I see it differently, right?
I think that these things do take time. It's still young. I can give them another 2 months. I give them another 2 months before we actually hear something happening again.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope so. At least get some organization in Haiti, you know, a sense of normalcy, that things that happen on a regular basis. Because I can imagine in this chaos, probably civil servants aren't being paid on time. You know, projects are being stalled, government works are being stalled. You know, social services definitely isn't being administered. You know, kids aren't going to school. So it's chaos. So you have to start brick by brick and putting some of these institutions back in place to at least have a running government. So when the next government after the election comes in, they can have something to work with rather than starting off from point zero again. You know, it just seems to be as Haiti keeps starting off from point zero. And I said it before, I say it again, they need to go back to God. They need to get out of that obeah and voodoo stuff. They need to stop it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be racist, but it's true. It's true. Because God hates it. God doesn't like it. You know, it isn't working for your country. You see it working for your country? You see all the other God-fearing countries that are successful and stable, they actually have the God of Jehovah, the God of Adam as their centerpiece. Do you see them, you know, running a place, talking over and doing voodoo and stuff like that? You see that? All right. Take my foolish word. I'm just a rant and rave on some YouTube podcast, right? Anyway, that's my personal belief. I'll leave that alone, Kim.
Well, I was taking in a bit, you know, the plenary sessions that do occur, which is the quasi-cabinet meetings of the Prime Minister at CARICOM level. The only person seemed to have published his plans, and I see him doing some work because he highlights it, and you actually see it trickling down the line. Ghana's president, Dr. Irfan Ali, you know, he's in charge of agriculture. He is like the Minister of Agriculture for the region. He has been pushing this 25 by 2025 that is reducing our food import bill by that year. 25% reduced by 2025. And he said something that Trinidad and Tobago has been known for the buffalo. That is a breed of cattle that was developed here because of our sugarcane industry.
Oh, the buffalo.
Yeah, it was also bred for meat, and it was widely bred under Carney 1975 Limited, which was the sugarcane industry. The company in charge was sugarcane.
Mhm.
as well as they had quite a bit of a diversification portfolio with them moving away from moving away from sugarcane and more toward the energy, more toward the oranges and sorry about that, more toward oranges and tilapia and other meat and food production areas.
Mhm.
So part of President Irfan's his presentation was to ensure that there's some kind of cattle. He's getting some private sector support for about US $110,000 model for a cattle farm in Trinidad and Tobago. Now we had that some time ago. This was probably 20 years, a little over 20 years ago, but they allowed it to diminish. They did not push it. Meat was being stolen. Corruption was happening basically, and it didn't.
Typical Caribbean foolery, right?
What's that?
Typical Caribbean foolery, right?
Exactly. And this was happening so many years ago. Now, President Irfan Ali is basically telling Trinidad and Tobago, you all had to go back to mining cattle, you know.
Mm.
And he's actually trying to push an agreement. Now, he last year, when they came up with this initiative, 25 by 2025, it came up in the meeting in Belize at the start of last year. And from the period February to May, they had made a transition. Guyana and Barbados had signed an MOU to share their livestock. Barbados is known for a particular breed of sheep. They traded that sheep with Guyana because Guyana has the land space. So they took the sheep and they're breeding it in Guyana and sending the meat up the islands. He's also looking to sign some agreements with Dominica as well, Dominica and Trinidad. So it's interesting to see he's looking at getting 100 acres of agricultural land as a lease facility with Barbados as well. And he's working with the CDB to get some work toward the improvement of transportation and logistics. In Ghana, where they have the land for the farms, they don't have the transport. So that's been the biggest issue in Ghana. So they're trying to build the roadways for transporting the goods and produce.
That's good. That's good. Making some progress. Okay, he's doing something. That's fair.
Yeah, I know he highlighted the success of his soybean plantation. They have like over 1,200 acres of corn and 1,000 acres of soybeans. Now that feeds into animal feed that the region. You know, we would have suffered a good bit at the start of last year when the Ukraine and Russia war happened, and we weren't able to get feed for poultry and or animals or livestock. So it's interesting that they have taken on this. And
that's how we begin self-sufficiency, man. That's where it starts. When you see that feed, you fill it, you know. Exactly.
It's about time. And, you know, for many years, I've always wondered why we weren't supporting Ghana, because they have the landmass. As part of my geography lessons at CXE level, we always learned about them raising cattle in the interior parts of Ghana, even parts of the Amazon.
Well, the truth is, the United States really got in the middle of our agricultural progress. You know, the U.S. wanted, first of all, it was kind of dastardly what the U.S. did to us in terms of us when we wanted to sell produce within the Caribbean. We had to send it to Florida first and then had to come back to the Caribbean. They did the Haitian mangoes. Haitians had to send their mangoes to the United States for the United States agents to ship it back to the Caribbean if you want some of those same mangoes.
I know that happens with Puerto Rico in particular.
Yeah, this is US state. Yeah.
I didn't know that happened with you guys as well.
Yes, it happened with Haiti and happens with most of the other Caribbean countries as well. They had to send their stuff to Florida for it to be checked, for it to be transported back to us.
That's a really bad shame.
Yeah,
I mean, I know that in Trinidad and through CARICOM, we've had free trade that all goods goes directly to the islands, Barbados, and even Aruba and things like that. I know that our goods have always gone directly, at least in the Southern Caribbean. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, at least Southern Caribbean, I know that our goods have always gone. We've always gotten bananas from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We've always gotten root crops from Grenada and neighboring islands to Trinidad.
but with some countries, the United States decided that we're not going to trust agriculture anymore. But I think with the ones further up north, the United States really has their thumb on the agricultural pulse here, and we don't do as much agriculture because they say we can feed you. And that's their approach. And what's becoming even worse now, what's going to be difficult for a lot of other Caribbean countries as well, is that when the WTO really starts to bear down all your import substitution methods and your infant industry and your industry substitution, your industry support, they're going to frown upon that. So all the things that you're seeing happening now with agriculture, you're going to give these subsidies to these farmers. Once the WTO starts sanctioning some of these things, or I should say sanctioning, what's the word? They start not banning. What's the word for it, Kim? I can't remember the word. It's not sanctioning, but sanctioning means they're giving approval for it. When they're going to start putting, telling you no, you can't do it because it's going to be against the WTO rules, then you're going to have a big problem now. All these talks about, subsidization and, supporting farmers and making sure local agricultural produce gets first preference, and putting up all these tariff barriers and these non-trade, non-tariff barriers. So then we're going to have a real conversation about how we're going to really build agriculture once the WTO and now even the European Union with the European Partnership Agreement really starts to really bear down on some of these Caribbean countries. Then you're going to see how much
CARICOM has its own common external tariff for trading within its own community.
CARICOM does, yeah, it does, but it can't be. But with the WTO, it can be in contravention to the WTO. It must be even lower than the WTO. So if you're going to have your own common tariff, it's going to have to be lower than what you've agreed to for the WTO. It can't be higher.
There's a tariff that when it comes to the LDCs and the MDCs. So LDCs are allowed to trade without any kind of taxing because they're already, they're low income developing countries. Compared to the more developed countries, like we are considered more developed countries. We, however, would have to pay a certain tax if we want to sell to even an LDC. So at least that's my understanding of the CET, the Common External Tariff within CARICOM. And it's up for the MDCs and the LDCs to adhere to that. I'm not sure as to how anything external will affect these tariffs that currently exist within the CARICOM regime.
Yeah, but once there's a dispute submitted to the WTO or the EPA, they're going to bring pressure to bear on some of the countries that are having these tariff barriers and these subsidization policies, and then there's going to be a lengthy, lockout, drag out, dispute settlement mechanism. They're going to have to go through all of these things. And if it's not in compliance with the WTO or the EPA, they're going to tell you, no, you can't do it.
But I know at least when it comes to Puerto Rico, there's something called the Jones Act that has existed for the last 100 years.
Yeah. See, Puerto Rico is something special. Puerto Rico is really a U.S. state, So, I mean, you can't classify them as a Caribbean. Even though they're in the Caribbean, you really can't classify them as a Caribbean.
No, but I'm saying it in the sense that when I hear that your food also has to go to Florida, it sounds similar to that.
Yeah, they've been under Haiti for years, and Haitian mangoes in particular. Haitian mangoes have to go to Florida for it to be shipped back to us. Quite a shame.
That's really sad. I mean, you're producing your own food and you can't even enjoy it.
No, you can't enjoy it. No, it's a shame, man. That's how they have the front of the necks in some of these countries, man. So there are different insidious things they do, to keep agriculture really tamped down. And that's if they haven't actually gotten to the policymakers and actually influenced their mind to thinking that agriculture really can't work. Because for years, in the Bahamas in particular, for years, our policymakers have always said that agriculture can't work in the Bahamas. It's only up until now where this administration now, under the Progressive Liberal Party, this administration now, they're trying to make a serious push towards agriculture. And I think our Minister of Agriculture and our government has really been inspired by Inshan, Irfan Ali, actually. They've been inspired by his push.
I hope so. I mean, I've always had the notion that countries like the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos, it's because of the soil. And I know Turks and Caicos, the British Virgin Islands would not be able to cultivate much produce because of the soil. I know volcanic islands that were created. So I always had the impression it was because of the soil texture and type that it was not sustainable for producing crops. However, I remember listening to it was Branford from DNA. They were talking about pushing for agriculture and reducing the import tax when it came to fertilizer, seedlings, and anything associated with agriculture. And I thought that they were also going to push something called, we have something called hydroponics. I'm not sure if you're aware of that agriculture practice, where you actually grow crops in pipes that is fed with a solution.
Yeah, we have two farms here, two hydroponic farms here. Yep.
Right. So I thought it was something like that because I know you all don't get much fresh produce, and what
No.
we're accustomed to here in Trinidad is very different from you guys.
I know. But here's the thing though, Kim. They even though they've said that the soil may not be that good, blah blah blah, but we have all these fruit trees over here. And before all of this industrial expansion, you could have walked out of your house and you could run through any local Caribbean fruit tree, from dillies to sugar apples to limes and Bahamian limes and Bahamian oranges. You could have run to any kind of fruit tree before all this industrialization happened, before all these housing developments came and really knocking on these trees. So the soil is here. These things grew wild here. So how come you tell me that we can't grow agriculture on a sustainable long-term basis when it's been growing here wild for all these years? I just never believed it. I never believed it. And now with all the technology, like I said, with hydroponics now we've also invited the Chinese in to help with a lot of agricultural technology and really give us a boost in agriculture. We signed an agreement with the Chinese government about $3 million to build greenhouses throughout the Caribbean island, throughout the Bahamas Island, sorry. And so there are things that people are doing now that actually are helping agriculture. You don't have to, deal with the old, rake and hoe inside the ground. You can actually do things in a high tech and high base level. So I never believed that agriculture could never work. It was always like a BS answer to me. They just didn't want to invest in it. And they just were taking talking points from someone who they've heard and pretending to be erudite and smart, thinking agriculture really couldn't work. It was dirty work. But no, I'm glad Dr. Irfan Ali is really making a push towards and say agriculture is really important. And our Minister of Agriculture, he said he's making agriculture sexy again. That's his quote. He said he's making agriculture sexy again, Mr. Clay Sweeting. Yeah, the MP, the Minister for Agriculture and Marine Resources in the Bahamas. He said he's making agriculture sexy again. So I'm with him on that because we need to feed ourselves, man.
I've always believed in agriculture because here in Trinidad, we always have our backyard crops. We grow anything from melon to tomatoes to string beans. We have any kind of crop growing in our backyard. Yeah. I grew up with my grandfather being a farmer, and he always grew crops. He always had something in his land. And the same with my dad. My dad has a garden, 2 acres of land where he actually grows root crops like sweet potatoes and eddos and green figs. So we always have something to eat. If you can't afford to go to the grocery, there is something in your backyard to cook. That's been our culture here in Trinidad and Tobago. That no grocery and no high food prices is going to cause you to starve.
That's right. Amen, sister. Amen. I'm not a vegetable guy growing vegetables, but I love my fruit trees. I just got a dilly tree from my one of my mom's friends. He gave me dilly. I know it's gonna take about 2 or 3 years for it to grow, but I just put it inside the ground. I'll take a picture and I'll send it to you, Kim. I'll do it tomorrow before I leave out for work tomorrow. I'll show you how my dilly tree is coming.
What dilly tree? I'm not familiar with that.
You never seen dilly before?
No, I'm not. Oh, it's a sapodilla tree.
Yeah, sapodilla. Yeah, we call it dilly. Yeah, sapodilla.
Yes, I know about that. That tastes like sugar, and I'm wondering if anyone has decided to produce that and make sugar out of it because it's so sweet.
Yeah, but like you say, nobody's really taking agriculture serious. Only until now, people have started to take agriculture serious. I got a guava tree as well. That someone else gave me, and it's coming on quite nicely, man. It's probably I would say about 3 feet now. I know it's gonna be another 2 years for that guava tree. Sorry, really starts really, but my mind's stuck on mangoes, right? Because the mango tree finally stopped bearing. It's done. I know it's been a long time, and God bless that tree. I had the sweetest mangoes out of it. I swear. I just made another batch of mango juice yesterday. And
have you tried the mango chow?
I haven't tried yet. No, I've tried. I'm going to probably try it this weekend, though. Doesn't have a chance to make. I'm going to try it this weekend. The mango.
That's my delicacy here in Trinidad.
I have to find the culantro, though.
Yeah, you do. I'm sure if a local grocer or farmer, if you know a Trinidadian or your Guyanese friend, he will be familiar with it. Yes, and he will know if it grows in the Bahamas.
Yeah, yeah, I'll ask him. I'll ask Peter. I'll ask Rizzle. He probably know how to find it. Yeah.
But agriculture is something that we all need. I remember some time ago we even had our own chickens.
Yeah.
We had our own chickens. My parents would in their days they would have actually had their own goats and sheep.
Hmm.
So agriculture has always been something here, and I think we all need to get back to that backyard garden. During COVID, it was quite pushed that people needed to get back to agriculture, and because of that, we have quite a good bit of vendors on the roadside selling produce from their backyards if they've had plenty, and that's why you'd get tomatoes and cucumbers cheap.
Yeah.
We always have some readily available fruits and vegetables to make a salad. And if you watch our diets, it's particularly mostly vegetables in Trinidad. I think Yuri is probably. I thought you were frozen for a moment.
No, I'm still here. No, I'm here. No, it wasn't frozen. I was in shock by all the things you tell me about your salads, man. Your salad produce.
Yeah, you can go at any given corner in Trinidad. You can drive not too far away from where you live, and you will find someone with a table set up outside on a corner, a little vendor shop, a little hut set up selling produce. You would get your lettuce, you would get cabbage, you would get tomatoes, you'd get anything to cook something in the afternoon.
You know something? I was eating salads all wrong all my life. I took a friend of mine last year, Marcia, to really up my salad game. She upped my salad game, Kim. I mean, my goodness, I went by her. We were studying for a class, and she whipped up a beautiful salad. She put some chicken bits in it as well. She whipped up a beautiful salad. I said she upped my salad game, man. My goodness, I can't believe she really turned me on. And after that, I haven't stopped eating salad since. I've tucked away the rice. I've thrown away the rice. I put away the rice. I want salad.
Oh, good. I think it's the potatoes. Potato is the heavyweight one. So you still have your rice in moderation.
I give rice all again. No, because I realized on the scale, I could see it on the scale. When
it is a carb. But potato is a worse carb, I think. Potato adds calories.
Yeah. And if I eat two spoonfuls full of rice, I could see it on the scale the next morning, man, Kim. I could really see it. So I stay away from it.
Well, it's usually one spoon per serving. Try to even add roast sweet potato to your salads.
Roast sweet,
roast potato helps. I roast pumpkin as well. I roast carrots and I make a dressing. I think I sent you that recipe.
Yeah, you did. I think you did actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you try to take my salad game up another notch. Okay. Sweet.
Yeah. When we're making our salads here, we really do it. We add the quinoa, however you pronounce it, that grain.
Yeah, quinoa.
Mexico, right? We add that because that has more protein than rice or any pasta or anything like that. So it's good for you.
Okay. Nice and healthy. Okay.
Yeah.
Quinoa and some sweet potatoes for my salad.
Just season it with some onion and garlic powder and throw it in the oven with some olive oil and it will roast.
No, I can't eat those processed seasonings though. That's blood pressure.
Oh, well, no, it's salt free. We at least the ones we get in Trinidad, it's actually just a dehydrated.
Yeah, I've seen the salt free ones. I stay away from all of them though, even the salt and non-salt.
So it's the dehydrated garlic and onion that is crushed into powder.
Okay.
Nothing else beside that, but you can just add your normal seasonings.
The normal garlic, right? Yeah,
it will work.
Yeah, I stay away from it though.
That's our agriculture or change of diets here in Trinidad.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, we're trying, We're trying.
I can imagine, man. Gotta stay healthy, because obesity is really going to kill most of our people as well. We have to do a show on health one day, Kim. Really talk how obesity is really getting the best of our people.
Yes, right now, non-communicable diseases is the major killer of all people in the Caribbean. Non-communicable diseases being things like hypertension and diabetes. And you hear almost all the prime ministers and leaders talking about that as well. You always hear people passing away from something related to diabetes. Hypertension, high blood pressure, which causes strokes. Then you have high cholesterol, which causes heart attacks.
Hmm.
So changing our diet because we've always eaten these heavy meals,
Yeah, these
low
heavy starches,
sugar
right?
and oil.
Yeah, of course, and fried foods, right?
Yeah.
Hmm. I
I
find it's mostly the sugar and the starches, but gets you, you know.
It is the sugar. I know we have this practice of stewing our meats with sugar.
Really,
Sugar.
you guys do that? Wow, that's wow. Why?
So no, it's a practice. I think it comes from the Creole ancestry.
Okay,
When we're
okay,
making our pilau, we actually sprinkle the brown sugar at the bottom of the pot of it, the plain pot. You
yeah.
let that start to bubble and caramelize, and then
Mhm.
you throw in your seasoned meat, and you
Okay.
let that caramelize as well.
Well,
Then
if Bahamian mothers had done what you said right then, we'd have lost a whole generation of people. Many of us wouldn't be born because a lot of them would have died from diabetes and heart attacks from years ago.
it's not that much. It's probably like 2 tablespoons of brown sugar.
Mm.
It's just to give that kind of coloring, because
Mm.
otherwise we'd usually use something called browning, which is the same thing.
Yeah, browning. Yeah.
It's in a condensed form in a bottle.
Mm.
I'm not sure how the Jamaicans cook their oxtails. I believe they stew it the same way, not so?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, with browning. But I have a funny story, man. I actually had an argument with my mother. I said, you know, so I go my oxtail to look like how I get it inside when I go into Jamaican restaurants, and she could not get it done. And she tried Worcestershire sauce, tried all this stuff. Until I realized it was browning.
Bro-
Yeah, the Jamaicans use browning, you know. And
And I
trust
think
me, I love
that's
it. Yeah, I love browning in my oxtail.
what adds the color to our pilau.
Hmm.
I sent you, I think we shared the recipe on Caribbean Magazine
Yes,
Plus
yeah,
time
yeah, yeah.
ago.
Well, yeah, a
That
while.
is secreted. I mean, I would add, I have my secrets. I add ketchup and soy sauce to add flavor and and color as well. But
Mm.
we also add something called golden ray, which is salted butter.
Salted butter. Okay.
Salted butter. In the 90s and the 80s, the tagline for that, add that rich Creole flavor. That was the advertisement that you would hear. It's salted butter that you add on top of your food in order to add that flavor.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
have since learned that, hey, that's adding cholesterol to your food, and
Yep.
I have eliminated it.
Mm.
Having a ex-husband that often asks me, why aren't you adding that? I say, I'm trying to cut down on your oil intake.
Yeah, to kill your cholesterol. Yeah, good. Think about it, Kim. Think ahead for him, man. Because he would have it dolloped with butter. Trust me, he would.
He would. I'm not having it. I know I'm trying to cut back on the oil and how we cook with oil. We
Mm.
try to use a little bit more of the olive oils rather than
Yeah,
the
the vegetable
vegetable.
oils.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't use lard at all. I mean, lard's for the restaurants, and trust me, we don't use lard here, but
Lard
vegetable oil.
is often used when we're making our pastries.
Mhm.
Uh, we also use it when we're making our
Mm.
which is like our festival floats here in Trinidad.
You use
So
lard?
yeah, you put like 2 tablespoons mixed into the flour
Yeah.
before, so it comes out kind of flaky.
They
That
call
gives
it shortening. They call it shortening.
shortening, yeah. Lard.
That's
In
my
Trinidad,
grandma's use
it's
shortening.
called by the brand name Cooking.
Yeah.
You know how you have it as Crisco there?
Yeah, Crisco. Yeah, Crisco. Yep.
All right.
Yeah, Crisco shortening. My grandmother was keen on shortening. She never believed in vegetable oils for shortening, but she had a big family, you know. She had what it was, I think it was 14 kids, and it was a lot to cook for. So you couldn't buy, you know, vegetable oil by the gallon. But vegetable oil is really a 1980s, 1990s invention, even though America really was using vegetable oil. Everybody in the Caribbean had shortening, you know, lard.
And we had coconut oil in Trinidad. So
Mm,
my grandparents would have had coconut oil as
mm.
their cooking oil. My mother and my grandmother would have actually made coconut oil themselves to cook with.
Really, coconut oil. Hey, you know how to
Yes,
do it? You know how to do it?
I kind of have an idea, but I'm not too sure because it's a good bit of patching and heat method to extract the oil from the coconut, the dried coconut.
Okay.
And they have a process of doing it, but I've heard it, but I can't recall it. And I remember my mom actually making it, but I was a wee little girl at the time, so I can't recall.
Can't recall it. You just sit down and talk with them, man, and get that knowledge transfer, have that knowledge passed down to you, man.
She did mention it. We were talking about it some time ago when food prices were going up. We have to return to making our own coconut oil, but we can't even get coconuts anymore because the coconut industry has been demised.
Wow, really?
I remember I had mentioned that we had groves of coconut.
Mhm.
We have Coconut Growers Association here in Trinidad, but a particular disease came and took over the coconut plants, and they were not able to grow and harvest as much as they once did, like in the 70s and the 80s. In the 90s, we saw it dwindling away, and researchers even came from India to study it. And they have a paper on exactly the root cause of that disease.
Mm.
They've been trying to resuscitate the industry for some time now, but we made our soaps
Too far gone.
from coconut oil. What's that?
It's too far gone. They can't resuscitate the industry. It's too far gone.
It's taking some time
Mm.
because coconuts take a while to grow.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Right, and to see it mature and bear the way it ought to.
You have to be intentional with it,
We have a Chinese.
Just like the time capsule, you have
Yeah.
to be intentional for the next generation. You have to be intentional. We're going to plant these coconut trees, and this is going to be for my children's children, and they're going to see these coconuts. They're going to reap the benefits from the investment we put into this. That's why we need leaders with forward thinking, leaders who have a compassion for everybody moving forward. So
Yeah.
it has to be intentional. It has to be intentional, man. There's nothing happens overnight.
I mean, we got our own coconut oil, and because of that, we were able to make our own soaps. We have an industry here that sets up, that makes its own soap bars and sells,
Yeah, you have an entire industry. Okay, we just have a few vendors who, do a thing on the weekends, But
yeah, I know we have that as well, the homemade ones. But this was actually locally made soaps and sold in the groceries wrapped. I think we even exported them as well.
I find funny, Kim. Why can't things like aloe vera be grown, mass produced? Aloe vera can grow on its own, really.
It can.
And so why hasn't anybody taken the initiative to say, something, I'm going to buy 3 acres of land. I'm going to get 3 acres of farmland from the government. Brown land. I'm going to put like rows and rows of aloe vera and sell them to the cosmetic industry and the health and beauty industry.
Yeah, I would think so, because at the side of my parents' house, they've actually we have pots and pots of aloes growing. Whenever you want one, you just break off a hand.
Exactly. It takes very little care to take care of them, just put them in the ground, they pop up.
Definitely.
And it's vital.
Yeah. Aloes is very medicinal in so many different ways as well.
Yeah. I spoke to a lady, a skin and hair care manufacturer from the United States. She's a Bahamian. She lives in the United States now. And trust me, she said that aloe vera is the most important ingredient in all of her supplies. She just can't get her hand on enough aloe vera. And she has to get her aloe vera from Mexico. And she's a Bahamian. She has to get her aloe vera from Mexico. So why don't you come and you set up a plant here in the Bahamas, since you're Bahamian, and it grows so wild? So these are the kind of things, these are the kind of partnerships we need. So I told her, so I'm interested in building, I'm interested in starting my own aloe vera farm. I have a time, right? But I have a vision for it. I can see it happening. I can see it happening.
It's that kind of thinking we need in the region in order to be self-sustainable in that sense.
I have to be friends with Irfan Ali. That's what I need to do.
I think he's going to be here just for a little while, but he has put in place the train of thought among our leaders, I think, to get agriculture in the way it needs to be up and running. It's a long time that we have had agriculture the way he's pushing. I mean, during our colonial days, we had cocoa, coffee, sugarcane. We had citrus, we had everything growing. We had rice in Trinidad, and we no longer have that. Guyana being the agriculture capital in the region, because they have rice still, they still have sugar, they still have a lot of things growing. Belize as well is is similar to Guyana. It's about time that we take a chapter from them.
I think so as well, And the only place that grows coffee in the Caribbean is Jamaica and Haiti, right?
We have some coffee plants as well.
Oh, you have, okay.
But we actually used to export cocoa and coffee.
Mm.
It was quite big, but it's now an EU initiative has brought on support for the revitalization of the cocoa and coffee industry,
Really?
because the Trinitario cocoa is quite important
Mm.
to their chocolate industry in the UK and in EU.
The cabbage.
Our quality of cocoa grain is something it's much desired, and even parts of the Caribbean borrows the Trinitario cocoa
Mm.
to to help mix with theirs to give it that rich flavor.
You know something, Kim? Speaking of chocolate, when I went to United, I went to Colorado about 3 months ago. I couldn't find a Cadbury chocolate anywhere inside the U.S. airports on ground in the U.S. I couldn't find a Cadbury chocolate anywhere. I had to come back to the Bahamas. I say, oh, this is the difference between being in the Bahamas and being in the United States. We get the British Cadbury chocolates. You'll find Reese's and you find those other chocolate bars, but they aren't good. When you can't compare them to a Cadbury chocolate.
Definitely. I think that Hershey's at one point in time actually tried to produce chocolate under the Cadbury label for the American market, but you
Yeah,
can actually taste the difference in quality.
yeah. Hershey's once you had a Cadbury chocolate, you can't eat a Hershey's chocolate, man.
Yeah, for sure.
You just can't do it.
My cousins would come to Trinidad and they would go to our supermarkets and they would load up on the drinking cocoa, the drinking chocolate from Cadbury to take back to New York.
Yes. Do it right. Yeah, let them know we have taste there. But I know the quality of life in the Bahamas was going downhill in the 1990s when I realized we weren't getting the same coconut cream cookies like we used to anymore. The McVitie's made a good coconut cream cookie. And
Yeah.
it stopped happening. I said, man, the quality of life really starting to suck in. Because now we have these Hill York coconut creams, and they taste terrible. They taste nothing like what I grew up, eating with the McVitie's coconut cream biscuits. I say the quality of life really starting to go downhill. I should have realized that the world is going downhill. We're in decline, Kim. We're in decline. Yeah, we're in decline.
It's your measurement of the decline of the Bahamas.
Yes.
The quality of cookies you're getting.
The quality of cookies have gone downhill. Yes. You know something? You don't ever want to buy a crappy cookie, Kim. Don't ever buy a crappy cookie. Take my advice. I want to say the S word, but you don't want to buy a crappy cookie. Don't ever buy crappy cookies, Kim. You're going to regret it.
My favorite cookie is the Dear Fudge chocolate cookies. And we usually get that in plentiful during Christmas time.
Okay. That's
Other
good.
than that, we started getting them regular during the rest of the year because of importation being released and whatever. But it was something that it only happened during Christmas time because of the importation duties, and everybody said, okay, we'll save it for Christmas. At one point in time in Trinidad, it was during when the IMF had taken over in late 80s and 90s. The only time we got apples and grapes was Christmas, December.
Really?
The only time we got cookies like that, the Dear Fudge cookies and Pringles, was Christmas time.
Christmas time. Okay.
Yeah. And then there was, I had mentioned something on my Facebook earlier. I got up thinking about Windsor cookies. And not Windsor wafers. I don't know if you're familiar with the Windsor wafers.
No, I'm not actually.
It's something that comes from Canada. It was in a clear plastic container. And
Windsor wafers.
it came in different flavors: orange, strawberry, and chocolate. And it actually tasted like strawberry. It actually tasted like orange and chocolate. It's been done away with. I think the factory closed in 2013, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I stopped seeing it on my shelves, and it was something we always saw, that defined Christmas at the time, the Christmas goodies you get.
So you've seen the decline of Trinidad as well through the cookies too, haven't you, Kim?
I know, right after that, since the mid 2000s, we actually started getting these things regular and seeing it all throughout the entire year in our grocery shelves. So we've seen things happen a little better, but it also speaks to our high importation bill. And why are these things so readily available? I mean, when you go to a Trinidadian grocery right now, you can see the wide variety of cereals, any cereal you want. When my relatives come from abroad, their children need not to worry about what they're going to eat, because they can get cinnamon toast crunch and Captain Crunch and any cereal their heart desires right here. Fruit Loops, everything is here in Trinidad.
That's good.
And we have all the wide variety of Kellogg's. but who's buying it? I still I still buy my local cereals from the Sunshine and Universal factories here in Trinidad. I still like their nutty, they have a nutty cereal, a nutty crunch. And I'm content with that.
They've tried it here in the Bahamas, but it doesn't work. Once you bring off-brand stuff to the Bahamas that isn't from Kellogg's or isn't from a known brand, trust me, you can fail in the Bahamas because Massey tried to buy one of our second largest food chain at one time. And they after 3 months and they had to run out of town because they started bringing all these foreign stuff in here and things that we didn't know about. And they just couldn't make it in this market because once Bahamians have been accustomed to their brands in particular, it's hard to get them to try another brand. We are very brand, I would say, we are very brand loyal, you know.
I think my generation, as I said, my generation came from, we were limited to our local goods at a time.
Yeah.
So we became content and we associated a good life with our local brands. We're accustomed with Sunshine cereals. We're accustomed with Universal cereals. We're accustomed with Sunshine snacks and holiday snacks. And I even saw Lily Singh, a famous influencer in America, talking about our Bigfoot snack. And all she looks forward to it. And I because we're so accustomed to that, we're content with it. I'm not too sure the younger generation, like those who are 20 years and 25 years younger than me, how they feel. They're accustomed now to the Pringles. Yes. They're used to getting, even Pringles they're going to throw away because we've had enough of that. They want something new.
Yeah. I just want to give a plug. I don't want to give any endorsement or advertisement, but the Lay's chips have gotten better since they started putting the Lay's chips in the stacks boxes. Yeah, you're getting a full box of chips.
Yeah.
Getting a full box of chips. And I buy those Lay's regular. It's the best thing they've ever done. I don't buy those Lay's bags anymore.
It's very rich and creamy. I must admit that too.
Yeah, the Lay's chips?
Yes.
Oh wow, okay.
I think the ones that you get in the container, the blue container.
Yeah, the Saks chips. Yeah, that's the best thing they've ever done, actually.
Yeah, it's very rich.
They've made up for their years of abuse and giving us those half a bag of chips. They've been ripping us off, with a half a bag of chips by giving us Saks chips.
If you still buy the air bag, if you still buy the bags, you're still gonna get half air though. But the containers are worthwhile.
Yeah, the containers are worth it, man. I don't look at those bags at all. They might as well throw those bags in the garbage because once you have the Saks chips, you don't want those other bags. You don't want them. But back to the cookies, though, Kim. That's a serious thing, though, Kim. Like the quality of life declined when I stopped seeing those cookies on the shelf. I'm serious. No, I'm dead serious, Kim. I realize these things. I notice these things as a sociologist, as an observer of the culture. I realize these certain things start to happen. I say, wait, hold on, wait. This isn't going right, Kim. This isn't going right. Where are the McVitie's coconut cream cookies? Now, mind you, the plant could have closed down. Who knows, right? I noticed that things started to change. Wow, things really started to change for the worse, Kim.
Keebler cookies. I always think of my grandfather when I think of the Keebler cookies. The Keebler. So
that's another set of cookies. The Keebler oatmeal filling cookies, oatmeal and cream cookies.
Yeah.
I don't see them anymore either.
I think they did away with that.
Wow, what a shame.
But here in Trinidad, the funny thing is we're talking about local fruits and we're talking about foreign fruits as well. Funny thing is, a packet of 4 gala apples here in Trinidad costs less than mangoes. Wow. I will go to any given grocery, I would pay at least between $11 TT dollars, 11 to 15 TT dollars. That's about approximately $2 US for 4 apples. And grapes has gone up. In the recent years, they reintroduced a tax for apples and grapes, so it has gone up, but it's still cheaper than wanting to buy a bunch of oranges or mangoes in Trinidad.
See, and that's the other problem.
Your dillies.
Yeah, my dillies.
Those dillies are going to cost me $40.
Wow, really? $40?
Yeah.
40 TT dollars. Okay.
TT dollars.
But here's the thing, though. I mean, now that's another issue that the agricultural produce in the Caribbean has to compete against. It has to compete against the foreign imported goods too, because like you say, you get American apples for $5 for a whole bag, probably a whole box full, right? But for
Right.
two, you're probably paying $5 for one. So that's another issue that Irfan Ali needs to wrap his mind on how he's going to compete against the foreign fruits.
The thing is, his country is still, it doesn't have the acclimatized taste as some of our countries. Trinidad and Tobago, because we've had the expats here for so long, and American food and or export or import bill is so high.
Mhm.
All children, as I said, have gotten acclimatized to a certain standard of living. This
Mhm.
is what they're accustomed to eating. Why am I going to eat a sapodilla compared to an apple?
Mhm.
And I have an apple, and I have grapes, and I have peaches and kiwis. When I don't need to eat a mango, I don't need to eat an orange, even though these things are much more high in vitamin C
They taste better.
and they taste better.
I'd kill for dilly. I would kill somebody for a dilly. Yes, I would kill
Same
somebody for
here, a custard apple.
yes.
The things custard apples are rare.
Yeah, they are.
When you come across them, it's like, wow, it's gold.
Indeed. I have two trees in my yard actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
We have the soursop. I don't know what you'll call. We have the soursop. I
We
have
don't
two.
stop as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
And you pay almost $50 for a very small soursop in a grocery.
Wow.
Even avocados, which we call zabuka, it's like gold here.
Yeah, wow. I have a tree in the back of my yard as well. Everybody in the Bahamas worth their salt has an avocado tree in the back of the yard.
We do
Everybody
it
has
well,
pears. We call them pears. We call them pears.
really.
Yeah, we call them pears. Don't ask me how we call them pears. We call them pears, right?
I
Yeah,
do love
everybody trees.
avocados.
Yeah. You like avocados?
I do. I do. I really do love avocados. I love mangoes. We get the really big buttery ones here in Trinidad. At least the one that my dad has growing in his yard is
Mhm.
big and buttery. It's a
Okay.
pollock. I think it's called the pollock avocado. But
Okay.
currently our tree is seeing some hard times. The wind has blown out its flowers. I think it's ridden with termites. So I'm not too sure if I'm going to get any of those avocados
Wow. That's a
this
shame.
year.
That's a shame. Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't grown a taste for them yet though. I mean, I've seen people eat them, but I've not ever grown a taste for avocados and pears.
So in Trinidad, avocados, I grew up eating avocados. We would crush it with just plain onions and a Scotch bonnet pepper with salt.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I would eat that with toast, or you can eat that with, I like to have it with a hot sada roti.
Okay, okay, okay.
That's Indian in me, and that's breakfast. And obviously we make the guacamole. I have a
Yeah.
guacamole recipe that is
Mhm.
unlike the rest. I put actually chicken breast and I use thyme and scallions. I
Mhm.
put a little bit of mustard. It's totally different.
Mhm.
And I like to have it with my Monterey Jack chips.
Oh, you go
Yeah.
all out. You have particular tastes.
Yeah. I make a different guacamole that
Mm,
is that is unlike any other.
mm.
I
You
put
share a
grilled
recipe.
chicken.
You share a recipe too, Kim.
I will. It's I've kept it secret. A lot of my family members have tried to replicate it, but they have not succeeded.
Ah, Lord, Kim, you're being stingy with the recipe. Don't do that,
Yeah,
man.
I've told them everything. It's just a matter of your hand, I think. You
Mm.
know, that sweet hand, knowing what to do, when to stop. Okay, this is enough.
Yeah, those are the best cooks, actually. Those are the best cooks who measure by heart and feeling because they put love into their food, right?
I think so too. That's how I've learned to cook.
Yes.
Okay,
I've
that's
never seen my grandmother use a measuring cup ever in her life. Never.
no,
Look at
when
my
I'm
grandmother.
baking, I use a measuring cup.
Yo,
Baking,
you.
you
Okay,
need
yeah.
precision. Baking
Oh,
requires precision.
not my grandmothers. Either of them. One was a homemaker all her life, and the other one was a caretaker all of her life, and she traveled the world with her bosses and supervisors. While the other one was a stay-at-home wife. I've never seen those women in the kitchen use any kind of measuring utensils at all.
Really,
Their food always came out superb, excelente.
I
Yes,
know it. I'm very particular.
mm. Those were real women back in the. Those were real women. They know how to cook. Yeah, you'll never get those women back in these days anymore, Kim. They're gone. Those kind of women are gone.
And now we have a sprinkling here and there.
The sprinkling here, those traditional women,
I
those
would
young
say so.
under 40 who know how to take care of the home and do things in a decent, respectful way, the way a traditional woman would.
I
You
can't.
have those women?
I would like to think so, but we're also taken up with time. I have a good bit of friends that do take care of a home and their children. They get up early in the morning, they cook breakfast and lunch, pack their children's lunches, and they dress really exquisite. They put on really exquisite suits and come out and work and do their thing and then go back home, take care of their children and their husbands.
That's good. That's good. I mean, that's why I'm coming to Trinidad. I want the Douglas. I'd find me a good Douglas girl who could do that. Kim, I'll relocate to Trinidad.
They're probably taken. They're probably been seen as like, that's it. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God. So now the Douglas are taken now. The Douglas are taken because I want them now. The Douglas are taken.
The good
First of all,
one.
it went from nobody wanted these Douglas women, right? Nobody wanted these Douglas girls. Now people want them now, Kim.
It's always been in high in demand.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
they've got that curly hair and a perfect mix.
Yeah. I want them. Yeah. But Kim, that's our show for tonight. So any final thoughts? You okay?
I wish you all the best. I hope we take some keynotes from CARICOM that agriculture is the way forward for our country's sustainability.
Yes. Amen. So we're getting towards our independence celebration as well. It's next week, Monday. We may not do a show next week, Monday, so because I'm going to be celebrating independence, but yeah, be with us. And we're going to celebrate on July 10th. So, Kim, that's us for tonight. So this is the LimeVibe Live podcast. And thank you once again for joining us, all of our subscribers and listeners on YouTube and Facebook. And if you have not done so, please like, share, and subscribe to our videos on Facebook and YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe to our videos on Facebook and YouTube, LimeVibe 77. It really helps us to share this message and share the Caribbean flavor throughout the rest of the world. We really would appreciate that. And also, in the description of these videos on Facebook and YouTube, there's a donate link. So if you have a chance, anything that moves your heart to give to the LimeVibe podcast, feel free to do so because it helps us to keep this show off and going. So thank you once again for joining us for another LimeVibe Live podcast. I'm your host, Yori Camp, along with my beautiful co-host, Ms. Kimberly Ramcalawan, saying good night.
Good night.
See you on Friday.
Yeah.